kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Just remember.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Try that again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight to the Ricmotech High Performance Cup Series. We are not the normal voices that you hear that you normally hear in the booth. My name is Greg McConey. I'm joined in the booth tonight with SRM Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Jonathan Leach. John, how are you feeling tonight getting ready for this Ricmotech race?
Well, I tell you what, Greg. First of all, it's going to be fun to be back in the booth. Secondly, unfortunately, virtual car hauler and car had to get loaded back up because I was participating in this race this evening. But it didn't work out, so I'm up here in the booth with you. I'm really excited for this track and this race, especially the next-gen car, considering the independent rear suspension. And I'm just a fan of Watkins Glen Racing regardless. And I know you've got a lot of technical skills, so I'm looking forward to a pretty fun, eventful, and explaining the techniques of driving this track, as well as seeing some good racing. Could be 50 laps. Should happen pretty quick because there will be no cautions.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking right now as qualifying opens up. Scott Ramler in the 57 Ford Mustang here is out on track. Like you said, John, we're not the normal voices. I know you wanted to be in the car tonight. I wish wish we could have gotten you there, but sadly we'll load the car up and get you taken care of next week. But yeah, this is a very technical track. So last week, everybody was over at Darlington Raceway. Tonight, all the haulers and everybody drove up north to Watkins, Glen, New York, where we will be tackling for the first time this season left and right hand turns on this tricky 2.45 mile racetrack. And it's going to be very interesting. Like you said, the independent rear suspension on these cars is so much better for road course racing than what we used to have with the old style Cup car with that solid rear axle. As right now, Scott Ramler's going to be the first one to lay a time down as he comes across the line. And he's going to dive this car deep into turn one here. John, I know, I think you got to get a little bit of practice out there. You know, how was this car feeling for you?
Well, unfortunately, I have to tell you, I actually did not get any practice in because I had to stay on standby. Had I actually loaded into the session, it would hurt our timing software. It would show me as a car driving. So I didn't get out there to do that at all. But what I can tell you is the biggest thing with this car on this track is that, I mean, the independent rear suspension, as you can see, Ramler going through the S turns right there, is that the bus stop, is that the car rotates and rolls really, really well, but because of that, it can also give you a false sense of security a bit whenever you're coming up into the braking zones, and I personally tend to miss braking zones a little bit based on how the next-gen car drives here, because when you're on the throttle, it wants to turn really well. As soon as you get off and you're on the brakes, it doesn't turn quite as well as it would normally, which is standard for a car, but it's different from the old car, at least for me. I feel like I'm able to drive and get off the... I'm able to anticipate better with the 6th-gen cars the difference in the braking as opposed to the next-gen cars, because when you get onto the brakes, it just stops the body roll completely, as opposed to the other car. So I think we're going to see a bunch of guys miss brake zones, then a few guys are going to be just fine. And as you got GT Hawkins right here, he's getting through the S turn there pretty good. Now you've switched over to Gomez. No, you're all right, man. We haven't worked together. It's going to be a little bit different. And gosh, I don't even say and them a lot. Sorry, guys. It's been like months I've been in the booth. Running this thing is way different than talking about this thing. But again, I think we're going to see some drivers really trying to push the braking zones here. If everybody watched the race the other day, we watched Kyle Larson try to do that, and it didn't go so well. So I think this is going to be exciting, and drivers are going to over-push the car, and we're going to see things not stick. And so the first probably 12 to 15 laps are going to be a lot of drivers sliding all over the place. So kind of excited to see.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm so excited. We'll go through a lot of the technical aspects of this race car and everything that you see here. Scott Ramler still on the board with a 1:10.78. Christian Gomez, we just saw across the line. His fastest time tonight is a 1:11.05 as he's going to pull it off into this first turn. Let's take a look here at Alonzo Kings coming across the line to lay down his second time. He's going to lay down a 1:12.08, slightly better than his last time. But we'll, as we kind of keep cycling through here, Dennis Weeks jumps up to third and gets kicked to fourth by Clifton Cockrell. Jumps up to third now with a 1:11.97 on his lap. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot of technical aspects. For those of you that have been or listen to me in the broadcast, I like to do a lot of technical stuff, and that's just kind of my understanding of everything. Being an engineer personally, it's kind of where I came from. So we'll go through a lot of the technical aspects of this car and how it's different. But like you said, the biggest thing for these guys tonight is going to be don't miss the braking zones. It's so easy to do. And as you said, Larson did it. The professionals did it. Kyle Larson, one of the best racers that's in the series right now, last year's champion, completely blew the braking zone at the Indy Road Course going into one. Missed it by a mile. And it's so easy to do. And you get a sense of overconfidence with this car on a road course now, as we're looking at Brian Senizak coming through the last turn 8 here as he's going to try and get a run down the straightaway and improve his time of a 1:11.88. We'll see if he's able to do so. We do want to shout out tonight so for those that don't know, tonight is a fixed setup race. So that means everybody is running the exact same setup. This setup was supplied by McConey Setup Shop. No, I am not the McConey behind McConey Setup Shop. That's my younger brother, Jeff. He builds and helps coordinate all those setup builds and all the races and leagues that run them. So this is his setup that he provided for the Watkins Glen for this Ricmotech series. You know, and John, from what I've seen so far, the setup itself is a very stable set. I wish I got to turn a few laps in it. I wasn't able to, as we watch Brandon coming across the line now. But it looks like these guys aren't having to slide the rear end around as much, and it's very stable and set for them, which is going to be good, and especially coming through the S's here as we're watching Brandon again. It's real easy to get this car out of shape.
Yeah, you know, I'm very surprised, actually, by seeing that, because I'm so used to... I don't do a lot of open racing or custom setups or adjusted setups. As far as the regular fixed setup that iRacing presents for this car, you see a whole lot more rear sliding, especially powering off the corner. And I'm not seeing that at all. Like you said, and look at these lap times, 110, 111, several 111s, a few low 112s, a couple higher 112s. Really shocked to see everybody that tight. And that might just be because McConey Setup Shop got the setup right. There's a little bit of wiggle right there from the 85 of Brandon Shirley, but I think he downshifted a little bit hard, and that got the rear end a little loose right there. But yeah, you brought up a really good point. I'm surprised to see how stable it is, and we're not seeing any of these cars slide around. So I might stand corrected. We might see some great racing in the first 10 laps. We're not going to see anyone get bent out of shape, which is going to really make this a lot more fun for us, because when there's great racing at the road courses, there's always a great battle somewhere on the track. Even though you would think people would get spread out, they always tend to find a way to come back together. So I'm quite looking forward to it. And a good eye right there from you, noticing everybody seems to be pretty controlled. And I want to touch on one other thing. So funny that your brother's doing setups in iRacing, and you decide to come over here and talk about iRacing. I think it's funny, two completely different realms, but I just thought that was kind of cool. So kudos to both of y'all for that.
Well, I appreciate that, John. As Brandon was not able to lay down a successful time, we are going to actually jump over for our first commercial break here. So everybody, we'll be right back. We're going to jump over for our first commercial, and we'll see you here in a few minutes.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you to the sponsors over at the Ricmotech. I'm sorry, I feel horrible. Extreme Scoring uh, for that first sponsorship. As we see, cars are starting to grid up here in beautiful upstate New York. As we take a look, let's pull up our leaderboard and see how everybody qualified. Starting up front, Scott Ramler. Driving the 57 car tonight, puts a 110 777 up on the board. Outside row is going to be Christian Gomez. Row 2, Dennis Weeks and Bryce Senesac. Row 3, Clifton Cockrell and John Sterling. Row 4, David Clayman and Alonzo King. In row 5, we have Ryan Kling and Mike Rominger. And in row 6, GT Hawkins and Brandon Shirley.
Row 7, you're going to have Mark Hanna and Jeremy Clifton, Kevin Ford and Wes Gant for row number 8. Row 9, Michael Thwaites, Maxwell Shade, and row number 10 to round out the field, Greg Carr and Alex Carr. The last 5 drivers did not post a time. I wonder if that was intended or if they just had some trouble on the track. So we're going to find out as these drivers are starting to get rolling here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a track that, even though there's a lot of runoff space, the biggest and most well-known being here in Turn 1, iRacing has it modeled that if you go off track and put all 4 tires, if I remember right, it's all 4 tires off the rumble strip, it counts as an off track. So during qualifying, if you do put your tires off track or get an incident point, and as it's known, it disqualifies your lap. So
is there a restart zone here,
that
Ed?
may have been what we were seeing with those guys. Hold on 1 second, as I need to turn down.
I reckon that is what you saw right there, or that's what happened there. Especially when you're trying to push it at this course, you tend to sometimes slide a couple tires off, or miss the bus stop turn a little bit, or come off just a little bit on turn 1, and that very well could have caused those guys to have unrecorded lap times. So it'll be fun to see those few come through the field here as drivers are coming through the bus stop right here. Won't be long now until we get ready to go racing here at Watkins Glen for the Ricmotech Cup Series.
Yeah, and as they come around, what you're seeing now is known as a carousel. Basically, it's a giant sweeping right-hand corner. So we'll kind of run through a couple things real quick. This series does run 75% fuel. Like we said, it's a fixed setup. There are no fast repairs. Since we're at a road course, there will be no yellows. No comp yellows, no natural yellows, none of that. They do have 75% fuel, which should put them around low to mid-20s. On a fuel run, and they do have 5 sets of tires for tonight. So as they come out of turn 7, this little left-hander that leads down into the short 90-degree right, leading down to this long front straightaway, we've got Scott Ramler and Christian Gomez up on the front row, and it's going to be interesting to see here what happens. As we look, Scott Ramler's got that inside line off the driver right. And as the green comes out, these guys are on their way here at Watkins. Ramler gets a great run as they come down into turn 1, a heavy braking zone where you're going to see a lot of guys trying to make passes as our first 2 guys get single file. Oh, and you see a wreck there. Big wreck.
Violent.
That looked like Senesac is around 97 I saw there as well of Weeks. Looks like they get it rolling. We're going to go back up front for a lap or so, and then we'll come back and take a look at what happened there. As everybody's kind of single filed out. Coming into the bus stop, as it's known. Down into the carousel here, also known as turn 6. Ramler doing a great job out front, holding Gomez right behind him. There's another big runoff area there. That leads down to what's known as the boot at Watkins Glen, really known for the IMSA course and some of the other road racing series that run here. We can get into that in a little bit. as Rambler takes his right-hander coming down onto the front stretch, trying to carry as much speed as he can. Rambler's going to hold him off, and let's see if Gomez is close enough to make a dive as they go into turn 1 here. Doesn't look like it, as it looks like everybody so far is good. Bryce Senesac has come into the pits to fix damage. Maxwell Shade as well has come in. Let's go back and take a look at that wreck. Let's see if I can find it. Should be right here. As we're on watching Weeks right now, does a great job getting in. Little bit hot. Let's see what happens. Oh, the 09. The 09 of Bryce Senesac just wheel hops off that curb a little bit, gets that car loose and turns right into Senesac. There's nothing Bryce could have done. Or, I'm sorry, not Senesac, Dennis Weeks. Not much Weeks could have done there, sadly. So we'll take a look back up to the front here. Still Gomez and Rambler rolling right now. Let's see if there's any other. This is your closest battle on track at the moment. We got a good one here between Hawkins, Kling, and Hannah, all running nose to tail right here. Hawkins trying to see if he can make a move onto the inside. As coming off of pits, that is Maxwell Shade. He is now 1 lap down to everybody else. We'll jump back up. Actually, I think we'll stick right here because this is your closest battle at the moment. So we talk about braking zones and heavy braking points. The main points where you're going to try and make a pass, as it looks like Max, no, I don't think Max had an issue there. As we see a pass here from Hawkins underneath Kling. The braking zones and how you make a pass in a heavy braking zone is essentially how hard you get on the brakes. You want to brake later, brake harder, and rotate to the center of the corner faster than the guy that you're racing. And we'll take a look back up front as these guys are still going at it again. You know, John, I know you've run these a little bit. It's been a little while since I've been in the next gen at a road course. We talked previously about this independent rear suspension. For those that don't know what an independent rear suspension is, you know, why don't you give them a little bit of a background on it?
Well, you know, the best way, and as soon as I explain this, we need to try to correct a couple issues right now that are going on, but the best way to explain the independent rear suspension is when you want to look back at some older vehicles, and let's talk about the 6th gen Cup cars, where the wheels are attached. You've got to basically, that's a tough thing to explain, but the best way to put it is you've got a solid bar in the back of or let's call it a solid steel tube, because that's what it is, and that's in between the both rear wheels, and inside of the solid bar are 2 other bars that go into the differential that also go out to the wheels, and that's where the power is generated. And they don't flex, they don't move as well when you're hitting bumps because it's a solid bar on the back. When you go to the independent rear suspension, we get rid of the straight axle bar back there, and now we've got 2 more, call them, like, best way to put it, flexible axles is the better way to put it. And because of that, it allows for a lot more flexing whenever these drivers go over bumps or hitting the rumble strips, and it allows the vehicles to roll much better than they would with the straight axle. Not the best way to describe it. I really wish I had a cutout display that I could put up and talk about it. I'd feel a little more comfortable explaining that process right there, more so. But Greg, I hate to do this. We need to take a moment and step away and go side by side, and we can continue watching this battle for the lead. But we got a couple things we need to correct so that our viewers in the chat are getting the best show that they can.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. Sorry about that there, folks. Little bit of a technical issue we had to try and fix. But during that, we saw the pass happen between Gomez and Ramler, and it was actually a beautifully set up pass. Ramler got into the bus stop a little deep, and that allowed Gomez to get to his inside. And once that happens, we've seen Gomez drive away now by about 1.5 seconds over Ramler, coming down onto this front stretch here. Looks like there's some other battles back here between Weeks and Brandon Shirley as they dive into turn 7. Up ahead of them, Mark Hanna, right? Actually, I lied. It's Weeks versus Hanna right now as they come down this front stretch. Big save from behind. I believe that was Hanna that had that big save coming out of turn 8.
Okay, folks, been monitoring the chat here. I apologize that the number issue was not fixed. I wasn't aware of that. Neither was Greg. We're filling in for the regular team of Tony and Dave. They both do an excellent job, significantly better at commentating than I am. I just lead the team, and without those guys, we wouldn't be the same. I will make certain that we get these number issues fixed. That way you can see the numbers white on this lime green. Just doesn't really bode too well as far as you guys being able to see things. So apologize about that. Already made a notation and sent a message over to our guy who builds our overlays and our designs right there to make that work. We think we solved the lag issue as well, so really hoping to give you a much better next 40 laps to this show. Also, Greg and I haven't worked together before, and I'm very out of practice, so just trying to follow his lead the best that I can here. And we're going to get this show going for you. Again, sorry about that. Sorry for the inconvenience. But right now we're watching DJ Weeks in number 97, currently in the 12th position. Just ran his fastest lap of the race at a 1:12.26, which is pretty quick, in my opinion, for around lap 9 of 50. But again, I don't know what kind of tire fall off that this exact that this setup has, as opposed to other setups.
Yeah, normally these setups, and having run some of the Pony setup shops, they are very durable. These tire sets hold off very well. McConey setup shop, Jeff and that team do a great job of keeping the rear balance in this car. And with the tire model that iRacing has, it is very easy to burn off the rear tires to the point that it lost my train of thought. To the point that it's very easy to get them loose and overheated, and that really causes some issues, especially later in a run. Right now, about lap 10, these tires are holding up. They're not the best they could be. You're really looking like lap 2 to lap 3 when you get optimal temperature in these tires and the max grip. But right now, around lap 10, I'm not seeing the back of these cars really stepping out, as we've got a little battle up front here between the 29 and the 1. You know, these cars aren't stepping out. Nobody's sliding. Nobody appears to be plowing tight, anything like that. So it's a very stable setup that these guys have, and that's kudos to what Jeff and his team have done, as well as what iRacing has done, modeling tire fall off, modeling the heat cycles, modeling all of that into this car. They have done a fantastic job with it. As we see a pass here, as Clifton tries to look to the outside, doesn't get there, decides to back off, fall in line as they come through turn 7, probably trying to set something up once they come down the front stretch going into turn 1.
You know, turn 1 is an excellent area to pass as long as you can outbrake your opponent. But you know, talking at the beginning of this race, whenever we're trying to outbrake, that's when we have the situation of you're getting in a little bit too hot. See, there you go, right there. The 29 was trying to brake hard, a little bit of lockup right there, ends up going high, nearly loses that position, gives the number 1 a pretty strong opportunity through the S turns here. He just wasn't able to capitalize. But that's the risk you take when you try to make passes in turn 1. And then when you're defending, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to try to drive in harder than normal, or are you better off just trying to run the regular line that you do? But then you have multiple risks. Are you going to get ran into the back of, or are you going to get pushed to the outside? It's so hard to determine what move you're going to make when you want to go into turn one at Watkins Glen, because a bad turn one can really ruin your entire lap. It can cost you 2 or 3 seconds just by getting in and out of turn one a little bit harder, a little bit slower than your normal laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to jump ahead here up to 4th place. We got a battle here between King and Sterling. Both these guys diving into turn one. Yeah, you talk about, and we saw it there. There was a lockup coming out of the out of the 29 of Rominger. Into turn one, you saw that little puff of smoke before when that pass happened. And that was a combination of Rominger trying to give enough room to the one car of Clifton, as well as push the car as hard as he can in order to not let the 97 of Weeks take advantage and catch him on the inside. Weeks ended up making the pass a few turns later going into the bus stop. Rominger just ended up backing out of it to give him the position. But this is a good little battle here between the 80 and the 3 car. They're matching each other step for step. We're seeing the 3 kind of had the advantage last time coming out of turn 8, down onto that front stretch, but just wasn't close enough to get to the back bumper of King. Looks like King's going to be safe again, at least for one more lap, as we do have another little battle between the 12 and the 5 car. Both of these guys coming down between Kling and Thwaites. These guys doing another good job, just not close enough. As there was another, this battle heats back up once more. We're cycling right now between your 2 top ones, your 2 closest battles, as we see the 3 try and take a peek inside going into the bus stop. That's another key part where you can really make or break your lap. Like you said, turn 1 was very, very tough and very critical to how you set up a lap, but as is the bus stop. If you take that entry too slow, you lose so much time on exit. If you come in too hot, when you catch the curbs wrong, you really are on the risk of spinning that car out and sliding it into the wall there.
Yeah, it's something that I'm watching, that I'm enjoying with this battle right here, is you're seeing the interesting thing about road courses is people have stronger turns and weaker corners. We see King here, Alonzo King, and I've actually raced with Alonzo King a few times. Excellent driver. So if he's running 4th out of 20 drivers, I'm going to have my work cut out for me once I start racing here with these guys. But he seems to be stronger than Sterling in the S turns. And then once we get back up here to the bus stop, Sterling seems to be able to outbrake him just a touch. Now this could just be Sterling running a little bit harder, but you see he gains a lot of time right here coming into the carousel. If he gets a good drive off the bus stop and a good roll through the carousel, he's going to be able to set himself up for a turn 11 pass right here. Worst case scenario, a turn 1. But as we come a little bit further into this, I think we're going to see Alonso get the better of turn 10 and 11, and then he's going to run his line into turn number 1. And that's just not going to allow Sterling to make the pass right here. So it kind of turns into a battle of attrition. Who's going to bobble? Who's going to make a mistake? As we've already seen a couple passes come down to locking up tires, getting into the corner a little bit wide, braking a little bit too early. So this is a pretty interesting cat and mouse game that we're seeing right here. See, it's Alonso who's going to run his regular line right in there, and see a little bobble right there from John Sterling. He's going to lose some ground. And I think King's going to be able to stretch it a little bit more here even as well.
Yeah, Sterling really took that turn 1 wide, trying to carry whatever momentum he can to stay on the back end of King. As you see, he tries to peek again to that inside, not close enough as they go into the bus stop. When we come back around, this is one of your closest. We've got another one back here between Clan and Hawkins, Clan and Hawkins, as well as Thwaites and Kling. A lot of great little battles going on here at Watkins Glen, which when you come to road courses, you're either going to have what a lot of drivers refer to as a snore fest, where it's just single file, everybody runs by themselves for most of the race. Or you're going to get what we're seeing here, which is a lot of close racing, 2 to 3 car battles as guys try and fight this all out. And the other thing to remember with it is we're still coming up on pit stops here. We're still about 5 to 10 laps away from pit stops happening. And when you talk pit stops at a track like this, you can run the strategy of a single, where you're, a single stop where you're trying to save your tires and save your fuel and run as long as you can, which may hurt you on individual lap time, or overall lap time, I should say. Or what I expect we'll see some drivers do is 2-stop, which means you're going to come in once, fill the car up, change 4 tires, run as hard as you can, burn the tires off, and then come back around and pit a second time to grab a fresh set of rubbers. As we see a dive to the inside here of Sterling, not close enough to get there on King. But then when you pit that second time, you're either taking 2 tires or you're taking 4, and your bet is I'm trying to gain whatever advantage I can on fresh tires, fall off, in order to make the pass. So we're going to see a lot of that. Then we come into the whole road course side of overcuts and undercuts. So there's a lot of strategy play that goes into road courses that you don't always see at different oval tracks.
Yeah, this is what makes road courses exciting. And, I'm not much of a winner in this sport, I guess. But I can tell you what, on the one-stop race at about a 50... I think it was a 46-lap race. I almost won a race doing a one-stop. Almost won it. Got overtaken with a few laps to go. So the 2 pit stop works really, really well, but you've got to be fast. You got to be one of the top speed drivers, and then at that point you're racing the other guys to see if they're gonna. And if you're racing another guy comparable speed, and he does the one-stop, and you do a 2-stop. You might be in some trouble. If you're a little bit faster than everybody and you do the 2-stop, typically you're going to be able to make that ground back up and then you can come out victorious. But the 1-stop is really good for mid-pack guys, because if they get the timing right, that's how they come away with top 3s, top 4s. In my case, I had a top 2. So it's just the strategy. You need to look at your skill level and how fast you are on the track, how well you can put your lap times together too. But Greg, what in a scenario like this, what do you think? Are you more of a 1-stop guy, a 2-stop guy, or do you decide, well, I'm in 16th right now, maybe let's go ahead and make this 1-stop race, or I'm 2nd, I'm close to the front, I can try the 2. How do you plan your strategy right there?
As we saw the pass here happen for 4th place between Sterling and King, I'm really looking at, for me, it's house and car fuel. If I'm close enough on fuel that I could make it on a 1-stop, and there's not a lot of tire fall off, as, kind of looking at the leaders of Christian Gomez, we'll jump up to them. Up front, you're not missing too much. Gomez is currently out to a 2.25 second lead over Rambler. In 3rd, we've got Cockrell about 15 seconds back. And then we had that little 2-car battle that we saw previously. I'm really looking to see fall off. And up front, Gomez and Rambler, they're only about a second fall off. To me, that's not enough fall off to really warrant the 2-tire stop right now. So if I'm good enough on fuel and I can make a pit stop over the halfway mark, I'm going to try and do it on 1-stop. Now, if I'm in the back, at that point, you're trying to do whatever you can. You're fighting for whatever positions you can. So if you see all the guys, if you hit the halfway mark and everybody around you is staying out, then I might try and short pit and pull a 2-stop strategy. if I feel I'm close enough to the guys that I'm racing that I can regain the positions after a pit stop on clean tires, then yeah, I'm going to try the 2-stop. But if I'm up front and I can make it halfway, even if I'm top 4, I might try an undercut, which would mean I pit a lap or 2 before those I'm racing to gain the advantage there. But I wouldn't be going too much more than that, as we see a great battle here between the 97 and the 5. 97 of Weeks gets down underneath Kling, and we saw a little bit of a shake there from Kling as he tried to turn down. Weeks was already there, and Weeks is going to take that 9th position and start to drive away. But John, what about you? You know, seeing what you've seen here tonight, seeing tire fall off about half a second to a second. Let's say you have enough fuel. What would your strategy be?
Well, you know, if I was blessed to be as fast as the top 2 with that low tire fall off, I guess I'd have to, by default, I have to agree with you, make it a 1-stop race. But I mean, if I've dropped, say, 2 seconds, you know, but I'm still a top 3 car, and I feel like when you got a 15-second gap between you and a bunch of other drivers, you can afford to make the 2 stop twice. That's what I'm trying to say. A 15-second gap. I mean, what's pit road time here? About 48, 49 seconds?
Yeah,
just a guess. We'll find out in a minute. I feel like you can. I feel like there you have the opportunity to make it a 2-stop race. But in this scenario, like you described, when the fall off isn't enough, if you do that and somebody else doesn't, and you've only gained a second and a half a lap, you're just going to run out of time. You're not going to be able to make that ground up. But if you're 2, 3, 4 seconds a lap faster, at that point, I feel like the 2-stop is the correct method to go. And really, I guess it just depends what the speeds are out on track and how the fall off is. And you can determine that during your practice session or watching the other drivers around you.
Absolutely. As we see a big dive here from the 09 of Senizak trying to get around Clifton as they come into that bus stop. That's where we've seen the most passes here tonight. You know, guys are dialing up some rear brake as they try and make this dive. And putting rear brake into the car loosens it under braking, but it does give you slightly better braking potential. So you can brake more with less. As John, I don't know about you, I say we take these guys for a cockpit lap around Watkins Glen. Watching this battle, we're riding right now with Bryce Senizak chasing down Clifton. Let's take a look and see what these guys have here. You see coming down into turn 1, that sweeping right-hander. Coming up into what's known as the S's, which is this short little right and left hand segment of turns back to another right-hander. Coming down into the bus stop. Senizak get right to the back bumper of Clifton, looks underneath, gets to the inside, dives it low. I always worry whenever I'm, especially in the cockpit, I always worry coming into that bus stop at a shallow angle because you have that guardrail right there and it's so easy to get it wrong and get yourself into that guardrail.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, is he going to hit the guardrails? He's turning and make the left-hand turn here. Get back on the throttle a little bit. Possibly a downshift. Set yourself up for the long straightaway coming into turn number 1. And this is going to be 1 lap with Bryce Senizak and the number 09 machine. Currently running P11 out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And again, it's race number 3 at Watkins Glen. You know, Greg, some of our fans are asking if we could go ahead and run through the field because they can't see the positions based on the white on green, and we need to do our best to accommodate these guys because we're not the A team for them. We're just the guys that are calling the show. So let's we're gonna do pretty much whatever you guys want for the next half of this race. So if there's anything y'all want to see, want to know, or any questions that you have for us, just go ahead and let us know. I'm fairly confident in answering anything that you've got for us. But let's go ahead and take our attention to the number 1 position with Christian Gomez.
Yeah, like you said, John, up front, Christian Gomez currently out to about a 1-second lead. Rambler's been able to close that down. As we take a look at him coming down into the bus stop here. Third place, about 19, 20 seconds back, is Clifton Cockrell. John Sterling sits in fourth right now. Alonzo King, fifth place, about another 3 seconds back from Sterling. Hawkins sitting in sixth. Michael Thwaite coming in seventh place right now, up 10 positions from the start of this race. David Clayman sitting in eighth right now from Fort Bliss, Texas. Ninth place, Dennis Weeks. Down 6 positions from where he started, but he's gaining a few of them back. Ryan Kling sits in a 10th right now, so that rounds out your top 10 drivers here tonight. 11th place is Bryce Senesac. 12th place, we have Jeremy Clifton, rocking that beautiful paint scheme. 13th, Mike Rominger, comes in the 29 car. 14th, we have Mark Hanna in a battle himself, right about a second back from Rominger. About a second and a half back from them is Wes Gant, driving that Valvoline throwback paint in the number 11. Alex Carr in the 26 right now, sitting about a second and a half back from Gant in the 16th position. Greg Carr sitting in 17th right now, being chased by the 85 of Brandon Shirley. These guys are all on the lead lap. As you see, the leader's actually there behind them. In 19th place, Max Shade has called it a night, and Kevin Ford so far has not started did not start tonight's race, as we see a battle heating up here in the front of this as the leaders come into pit. You see some other guys coming off right now. Thwaites and Clayman, both of those guys coming off pit road after taking 4 tires. So those guys were on pit lane about 48 seconds as past goes Kling and Clifton. Here comes the 2 leaders into the first 2 stalls. You know, these guys splitting it up. Lap 26, and they're most definitely going for the one stop. I haven't seen anybody come in really to try and push that 2-stop strategy. As up front, let's see if I can get him. Cockrell right now, not technically, no, I think he is actually. No, he's not your leader. Your leader is still Gomez, but Cockrell's going to run this segment long. He has not been into pit road yet. No, I lied, he has. Sorry about that, folks. He has come down and made his pit. But still back up front, this battle between Gomez and Rambler heating back up. Both these guys came in at the same time. Rambler actually closed in by about 0.2 of a second to the back of Gomez as this battle took place. And we've got another big fight going on a little further back in 8th place between Weeks and Clayman. That's a heck of a battle, and they're catching up with Michael Thwaites. We're going to keep our eyes up front here with this lead group to really see what these guys have, and you know, we'll see if Rambler is able to get back to that lead like he had at the start of this race. But as that settles out now to about a second, almost a second and a half lead, we'll take a look back here at Brandon Shirley and Alex Carr, these two racing it out right now, currently for the 12th position. Carr has currently gained 8 positions. Shirley has lost 1 since the start of this race. As we see Carr go wide, very wide into the bus stop, just overdrove that corner, gives the position up to Brandon Shirley in the 85, trying to take that outside line, but Carr's going to fight his way back, not give it up so easily, as right behind them you see the 2 leaders. Now, these guys do not have to yield the position. These guys are fighting it out. They will be fighting with the lead between themselves. It's the leader's responsibility to get through. Looks like the 85 of Brandon's going to let... he let the leaders by, and I thought Carr was going to do the same. But Carr stayed out, trying to stay ahead of the 27 of Gomez. Now he pulls down to that inside, and he's going to let Gomez get by. Let's see if Rambler gets to him. Rambler's there, and Carr's holding up Rambler. This is exactly what Gomez wants, and I'm betting Rambler's not a happy man right now with Alex Carr after that.
Yeah, I can imagine that some words will be exchanged post-race, as one of the rules that this league has is you're not allowed to call drivers out in the race. They want to keep the radio clear and not have a lot of aggravation amongst the drivers. And so, for those of you that didn't know, these guys are all in an open room together, and they can all talk to each other in the middle of the race. So you can only imagine what happens when somebody drives through one of these drivers. They get rather upset, and if I was Scott Rambler here, it would be tough for me not to get on the mic and be like, come on, man, let me go. I'm racing for the lead here. Come on, let me go. But that's a rule that goes against the rules that Ricmotech has set forth. And so I don't anticipate that was even a thing. And like you mentioned, it's the lead lap car's job to get around. But boy, can it be frustrating when you're trying to get around lap cars at times.
Absolutely. And as we are on lap 29 right now, John, we're going to step away now that pit stops have concluded. We're going to go listen to our second commercial break from our sponsors over at Extreme Scoring.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Thanks again to our sponsors over at Extreme Scoring. You are watching the Ricmotech series tonight here in beautiful Watkins, Glen, New York. Up front, the battle still hot and heavy between Gomez and Rambler. Rambler is able to drive back up towards Gomez after that little holdup that he had with Carr there. You know, Carr, I know the S's are a very tough place to let someone get around. You know, Carr was doing the best that he could in order to let Rambler get by him. He did a great job jumping off at the top of the S's there, but it's such a tough place to pass and a tough place to make something happen.
I mean, you know, to be honest, the whole track is tough to pass. You just have some places that are better than others, and some that are not so good. Like when going through the S turns, that's not an easy place to pass. But if you got the guts to scream up in there right next to somebody, you can gain a lot of positions. And you know, I'm not one of those drivers, and I'm sure you are, Greg, but I'm not passing through the S turns right here. But coming into the when you get to the bus stop, you know, that's a great area to pass, but it can be awfully scary because you don't know if you're going to slam into that guardrail or get pushed off into the grass right there on your left. And the interesting thing about the bus stop is if you blow one part of it, you blow the whole bus stop. And a lot like turn one, you blow part of turn one, you blow the whole thing. Carousel's not as bad, making that right-hand turn, maybe a little bit of brake in there to keep the car seated to the ground, depending how the tires are doing. Another good passing zone, as Dennis Weeks comes in here. This is one that I like. Ideally, you come out of this turn and you're on the right side of your opponent there, so you can make that steep turn right there, turning right to try to get underneath them. At least that's how I try to set up that pass. But I mean, again, none of these areas are easy to pass, but that's just what makes Watkins Glen great, in my opinion.
This Watkins Glen is by far one of my favorite road courses. The real reason is this road course, you know, I've heard some people explain it as the super speedway of road courses. You're carrying so much speed. It's not as tight and technical as a place such as Coda or Sonoma, but the speed that you can carry, and if you can really get a car that's turning well, you know, you're really able to make up some time in these high-speed corners, like coming up through the S's, like going into turn 1 or coming out of the carousel here. As we're on board with Dennis Weeks trying to get to the back end of David Clayman. We talked earlier about the independent rear suspension versus the, ooh, there's a little slide there out of Weeks. He's really driving this car hard. But we talk on the independent rear suspension, and the other major change that NASCAR made with this next-gen car versus the Gen 7 car, the Gen 6 car, which
oh wow, as you see
big.
David Clayman right there, he just missed the braking zone quite a bit, and that's going to give DJ Weeks the spot. You know, at first I thought DJ Weeks got off the throttle a little bit early, but no, in actuality David Clayman just missed the braking zone. However, got on the brakes pretty good. Didn't meet the wall right there, but good pass for DJ Weeks to the 7th spot.
Yeah, he did
Sorry
a great
to cut you
job.
off.
No, you're good. Absolutely. I mean, the racing is key here as we're watching this battle between Weeks, Clayman, and Senesac. The other big change NASCAR made is they put a lot bigger and beefier brakes into this car. And that's really helped out the drivers in this car on road courses because you're able to get on the brakes so much better. And that independent rear suspension has all but eliminated something that the dreaded word that NASCAR drivers hate hearing, wheel hop, where you have locked up your rear tires and it actually bounces the rear end of that car under braking, and it gets the car so loose and so bent out of shape. As we see Weeks making another pass here on the 29 of Mike Rominger, that is not for position, as Clayman went wide there coming out of 1, really fought the car and saved it.
So that's twice in a row that he's had trouble in turn number 1, and it's starting to cost him positions because that's brought Bryce Sinsack right back up to him. And another bad turn 1 like that, and he's going to be looking down another position. As Sinsack seems to be running a pretty smooth lap right here. Sorry, I had to cough right there. I want to go back to touch on the wheel hop. You know, something that's they fixed, which is kind of a bummer, is sometimes it was fun to watch those old cars without the independent rear suspension hit these rumble strips and the whole right or left side of the machine go flying in the air. We don't get that anymore. We only get a corner of the machine now that pumps up in the air with the new suspension. So we don't get to see the two-wheel riding and turns like we used to as much. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but the racing and how seated to the track that these cars are now is increase in speed, lets the drivers manhandle the car a little bit more. It makes for better overall racing. So I think it was a great move. I love road courses. I like where the direction of the sport is going with road courses. And it was a good move to go to this type of car.
Yeah, no, it's really, I really have loved what they've done with this car, what NASCAR and iRacing have done with this next-gen car, and they've made it so much better when it comes to these road courses, because these are big, heavy stock cars. These things aren't meant to be slung around, as we're watching Senesac and Clayman do right now. You know, they're not meant to do it. They're meant and designed for the ovals, the Daytonas, the Michigans, the Kansas, the New Hampshire, Martinsville. You know, this car is a lot more durable than the old car, and that plays a huge part actually to what iRacing has done with NASCAR. You know, the two companies have partnered up. There's a battle back here going on for the 16th position between King and Mark Hanna. You know, iRacing and NASCAR have done so much to model all the physics into this car. They tested everything through iRacing hand in hand as they were going through testing these cars in real life. And the prime example to all of this is during COVID, when NASCAR and iRacing were doing the Pro Series that they were presenting. They did a makeshift track in Chicago on the street course. And with the news that came out in recent weeks, the Cup Series will be running that exact same road course in the streets of downtown Chicago that was modeled, and the idea came up in iRacing. So they have done so well modeling all this, and the two companies being partnered to present and develop this car, and I can't give enough compliments to what they have done, because it's so realistic, and for a sim driver like myself, it makes it so much fun to be there and get to drive these things day in and day out. Whenever I want, I can take this thing anywhere. I can take this to Monza. I can take this to Red Bull Ring. I can take this to, you know, I've seen people running this car on the Daytona rally course. It's remarkable, and once again, I can't praise the two enough, because it makes it so much fun for us. And I know, John, I know you were really looking forward to running tonight here at the Glen with these guys in the Ricmotech Cup Series, as we're still looking at Gomez and Rambler up front right now. This is your closest battle. We do have another one heating back up between Weeks and Thwaites back here for the 6th position. John, what do you say we do a quick...
Finsack right behind him as well.
Absolutely. What do you say we take a quick rundown, go through the top 14 guys that are currently sitting on the lead lap? I know we are still having that display issue. Sadly, folks, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do on that tonight with the number placement over that green. As John said, we'll work and get that fixed, hopefully for next week for you guys. But, John, do you want to do a quick rundown for these folks?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. Let's go ahead and go back up to number 27 for Christian Gomez and try to get us an angle where we can take a peek at his car. You know, road courses are a little bit more difficult to get a good view of the paint scheme. Nice white and blue Ford Mustang right here, built Ford proud. That's a pretty cool scheme. I'm a fan of that right there. He's currently at 3/4 of a second out in front over Scott Ramir. They pitted the same lap 25 together. Kind of curious to see. Scott Ramler was leading for quite a bit earlier, so we're going to see if that's going to turn into one heck of a battle. Now pictured right here, you got Scott Ramler. Hey, look, he's running the McConey setup shop as he just had.
He gets a bus stop wrong.
Bit of trouble right there. God, lost almost 2 seconds to Christian Gomez right there. Commentator's curse. I hate to say it.
Let's get off of him, then.
Yeah, that was Scott Ramler. Driver number 10 right here, you got Clifton Cockrell. It looks like that's a Rad Torque Systems. Oh man, it won't hurt your nuts. That's a good idea. Folks, y'all should most definitely torque your wheels. God, I can't tell you how many studs and lug nuts in my early mechanical career before what I do now, because I always would just take the impact and add too many ooga-doogas, you know what I'm saying. So we're not doing any of that anymore, but a couple more. Let's go on now to driver number 4 here, John Sterling. 4th place position, that's John Sterling driving the number 3. Driving a Ford Mustang. It's a little bit of a Goodrich service, a little bit of a tribute to the late Dale Sr. Having a pretty good race. We watched him kind of be further back and move his way forward. He's up 2 positions, started P6 at the beginning of this one. Going to your 5th place driver, that's GT Hawkins in a Toyota number 12. Excuse me, the number 14 Toyota. You are struggling over there, Mr.
Well,
Producer.
You said 14, 12, the 4. I'm trying to keep up with you, man. We're on with the 12 right now of Michael Thwaites out of Baltimore, Maryland, running a beautiful Space Force scheme. And, John, I'll let you take back over as we jump down to the 9 car of Bryce Senizak.
You know, I really wish you'd let me take that Space Force theme. Showing some camera edit settings on right now. It's beautiful for the number 9 machine, the 09. That's kind of a cool thing. I had to think about what Roman numerals are for a moment right there. So number 9, Bryce Senizak. He's been in the middle of a bunch of battles for us. We've seen him battling with DJ Weeks with Michael Thates, also with David Clement sitting in 7th. He's down 3 spots since the start of this race, but positive trend moving forward right now. Only about a half second behind Michael Thwaite, so we'll see if he can move forward a little bit more. DJ Weeks in the 8th position, number 97 car. We focused on him quite a bit in that Pro Air Chevrolet. He's been involved in a bunch of battles as well. It seems like the 5th through 9th place car, those guys have all been right around each other this entire race. Moving a little bit further back, David Clement, and he's got some fans in the YouTube. Thank you guys for being here and cheering this driver on. He absolutely, it's really great for these guys. And Greg, can you go ahead and hit your space bar, please, on iRacing to get this screen off of here? It's covering up the racing.
Which screen?
I'm showing your overlay from iRacing. I'm showing cameras to edit. I mean, this is on my screen.
Might be yours, my friend.
I apologize, folks. That's on my screen throwing me off. I don't know how that happened. I really apologize. Sorry. Anyhow, though, back to David Clement here. Man, I was doing a good job faking it. Just trying to ignore it, and then I thought it was on with you guys. Ugh, gosh, my bad, fans. So David Clement running 9th. He's down 2 spots right now. We saw him have a couple unfortunate turn 1 mistakes. He's at a Fort Bliss. I know where that is, by the way. So currently running 9th. He's about 6 seconds behind DJ Weeks and 10 seconds in front of Ryan Kling. So kind of running by himself. He might need a little bit of help to increase his position. Back to Ryan Kling. Are they running the same paint scheme?
I believe so. Just slightly different. I think Clement is black. Yeah. Clement is black, Kling is white base.
Alright, dare I say that they might be teammates? Unfortunately, I can't say for sure, but I'll tell you in a moment.
I'm going to guess, since they're running Dark Tempest Motorsport schemes, I think that's a safe bet if I was a gambling man.
A gambling man you are, then I'll take that bet myself. So further down the list, you got Jeremy Clifton, the number 1 Chevrolet. He's currently P11. He's up 3 spots in the red machine right here. I can't remember. Was he one of our drivers who did not qualify? I could be wrong.
I'll bet. We'll have to go back and check that. I believe you may be right, though. As John's checking on a few things, we'll jump back to Clifton running this beautiful number 1. Is that Glory Polico, I believe? If I'm pronouncing it, I apologize. Jump back to your 12th place driver, Alex Carr, running this beautiful TBR 26 Mustang here tonight. He is currently in a battle with the 85 of Brandon Shirley, running about 3/4 of a second behind him. Then we'll take one more look to Greg Carr. Beautiful HK Heckler & Koch 25 car riding right now in the 14th position. Right behind him in 15th is Alonzo King running this 80 Dark Tempest Motorsport scheme, the same as Clement and Kling. Back in 16th, Mike Rominger, the 29 car, currently down 6 positions from where he started tonight, running a beautiful Chevy scheme. Mark Hanna in the 45 right now, down 4 spots, as you see the leaders right there ahead of him as they come into the bus stop here. And then your last car running tonight, Wes Gant in this Valvoline 11 Chevy here tonight. So as we're watching these battles, folks, we've got one more commercial break we need to take here, and then we will bring you back for the last few laps here at Watkins Glen.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
All right, folks, thanks again to our series sponsors. And as we come back, we have 6.5, 7 laps to go here tonight at excuse me, I can't speak. Here in New York at Watkins Glen. this beautiful road course. The first road course of the series for these guys here in the Ricmotech Cup Series. Up front, we still see the 27 and the 57 of Rambler and Gomez fighting it out. Gomez trying to get around this lap car here of, I believe that is King. I am correct, as King goes wide there in turn 7, letting both the leaders by. These two have been up front all night. It started out with Rambler on pole, followed by Gomez on that outside line. But since then, I think around lap 7 or 8, Gomez took over that lead and has not relinquished it since. Got about a 6/10 of a second lead here as they go up through the S's here, coming down onto the backstretch. Long backstretch going into what is known as, once again, the bus stop, because it's how you would typically see a bus stop. Bus pulls off the main road, everybody gets on, gets off, as we see a big fight here as Rambler gets to the back bumper, and we are definitely in for a good fight here, as we are now 5.5 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. As this fight goes on.
I want to check on another battle right now. If you want to head back over to position number 3, Clifton Cockrell, the 10 machine. John Sterling's only a 1.5 back. We talked a few moments ago about him kind of making a push to try to gain some positions. We're going to see if Sterling can catch him. 1.4 seconds back of the 3rd place position. That's John Sterling, as they're both in the bus stop right now. Another battle I want to keep an eye on that's heating up. Michael Thwaites, GT Hawkins, 6th and 7th. And you got DJ Weeks kind of sitting in the back right there, too. When you get 3 cars like this coming down to the end, it's kind of entertaining because one car normally gets the boot. So we're going to see what happens with these 3 drivers. And the battle up front, and this battle is what we're going to try to focus on for the last 5 laps. So keep posted. Go ahead and place your bets, folks. Who's going to win this race? Christian Gomez, Scott Ramier? Who's going to be the best of this battle right here? Is it going to be Thwaites, Hawkins, or DJ Weeks? Let us know in the chat. Thanks for sitting here for the race. We really appreciate you guys bearing with us. Again, Tony and Dave will be back next week, and we apologize for the lack of continuity, I guess, between Greg and I. Not having practiced or done many shows together, but we're trying to get this through for you the best we can. As Michael Thwaites gets into turn number 1, puts a little bit of a gap back to DJ Weeks, and GT Hawkins has now fallen back 1.7 seconds from him.
Yeah, Hawkins backed off as they went down the front stretch going into turn 1, gave the position to Weeks and Thwaites. I once again, we want to thank everybody for being here with us tonight, as we got about 3.5 laps to go. Make sure you please like, subscribe, comment, share, send this to all your friends, your family. Grandma sitting in her living room right now. She's looking for something to watch. Come on out and watch these guys in the Ricmotech series. Every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, these guys put on fantastic races. I've seen some of them in the past. When I'm not racing myself, I love to tune in. Here at SRM, we have so many shows going on. Tuesday nights are our biggest pack nights right now. We've also got series on, I think, every night aside for Thursday and Saturday now, John, if I remember correctly.
Every night. Saturdays we have one-time events. Saturdays are normally kind of meant to be team nights. We get on American Truck Sim or do something a little bit abnormal. We need to start streaming that. Maybe you guys would find that entertaining as fans. Thursdays are pretty open, so if you got a league and you're looking for some broadcasting on Thursday, please reach out to us. We're not as packed, and we got a bunch of guys that look forward to producing your show. 3 laps to go right here. Let's go ahead and take a peek back at the lead. It's still about 1.1 seconds between, excuse me, I read that wrong. It's 0.6 of a second between Christian Gomez and Scott Ramier. Getting ready to come into the bus stop. Is Scott going to make a move and try to drive it in deep again to make up some ground?
He does, but just not enough. He was behind that, Gomez was behind that 25 car, which allowed Rambler to get close, but not enough. As both of those guys are slinging it off of the carousel there. These guys, it may not look like it, but these guys are driving and burning off every last ounce of goodie left in those tires, putting on one heck of a show for everybody here tonight. As we come down, they're going to come across the line here as they're chasing, claiming right now the 15. Two laps
battle
to
right
go,
there.
folks.
And Scott Ramier just ran the fastest lap of his race, a 1:10.56. And John Sterling just made the pass on Clifton Cockrell, from fourth to third. So John Sterling moved him up to position 3. He's up 3 spots in the start of the race. Clifton Cockrell back to fourth. Now only up 1 spot, and we had a guy said he expected Clifton Cockrell to win the race in the last lap, so something really crazy is going to happen in order for that to come true, but I've seen stranger happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past the opportunity as we see these guys right now. Gomez right on the back bumper of Waits and Clayman. Now, once again, they are not obligated to give the room. It's up to the leader to safely navigate and make this pass. But this is exactly what Rambler's looking for. Sadly, he's about a second back right now. As they come out of turn 8 for the second to last time, Gomez is going to have a huge run. Let's see if he's able to make anything happen as they come across the line. White flag in the air. Last lap here at Watkins Glen as Gomez dives it down underneath, passing the lap car. You see the brake rotors glowing, the 15 wide. He's going to get that inside line to Gomez. Now both of those guys, and this is the same thing that happened to Rambler before, kind of gets caught up in the S's. Not much he can do, as Thwaites, it looks like, came in and hit it. Not sure if he was low on fuel or what. We'll have to look at that. Mark Hanna looks like he had an off. We'll check that here soon as we watch this battle here between Gomez and Rambler. Oh, little bit. Look at them slinging those cars around through the bus stop. Not sure if there was contact there. But if it looks like Cockrell's in too, these guys may be short on fuel and just have to take a splash. It'll be interesting to see if Gomez and Rambler were able to keep enough fuel in this tank as they come out of turn 7 here, down onto this little straightaway, back into this right-hander, coming down for the final time onto the front stretch here at Watkins Glen. Gomez shaking the car. He's good. He's just having fun there. Your winner tonight, the 27 car of Christian Gomez, followed by Scott Rambler, comes across the line. In third, we've got John Sterling coming through the bus stop right now. He currently has, I want to take a look, about a 6-second lead back to the 09 of Senesac.
He can still run out of gas right here.
He could. It's never over until the fat lady sings, I'm afraid. I've seen weirder things happen at many different tracks, including Daytona, where I saw everybody but the guy in, 18th place come across and win because he was able to save enough fuel. As we see your third place finisher, John Sterling, comes across the line, 5.5 seconds back. Brian Senesac comes across the line. Dennis Weeks coming out of turn 8 for the final time. He will finish here in 5th place tonight. But as we said, your leader, as these guys keep coming across, your winner tonight, Christian Gomez, has already pulled it off track. Let's take a look and see who else is still out there. Hawkins finishes 6th. Cockrell is going to come home in 7th after having to make a pit stop. David Clayman looks like he is out of fuel. That 15 of David Clayman, I believe, to be out of fuel. Yeah, he is. He's absolutely out of fuel. That motor is not running right now. Kling is in pit road for 9th. Thwaites, here comes the 12 of Thwaites, is going to get past Clayman. And he should... Nope, they take it down pit road because the race is over, and I'm adding extra drama that doesn't need to be there. Sorry about that, folks. So
That's all right. But, that's just that Midwest humor, Michigan Midwest humor. That's where Greg and I are, by the way. There shouldn't be enough information. If you don't like us, you can't find us based on that. But
we're going to we got one more commercial break as we get everybody ready, and we're going to gather your top 3 drivers here tonight. John, we'll be right back after this commercial break from Extreme Scoring.
extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, because I've got the wrong guy clicked. In the booth with us now, we have your third place finisher, John Sterling. John, congratulations on your third place finish here tonight at Watkins Glen. Tell us about your race.
Oh man, thank you guys. I was having fun out there. We had that messy start with Bryce spinning out coming to turn 2, and then it was just recovery throughout the rest of the race, and I was just chasing down people and just having fun while doing it. I'm sweating over here.
Yeah, you guys put on a heck of a show. You started tonight out in, I believe, 6th place. Let me double check that. Yep, you started in 6th. You ran some solid lap times, got your way up to 3rd. I know you said we had that little incident in the beginning. How did you fare in that whole ordeal?
Yeah, it practically happened right in front of me. Like I saw Bryce go around hitting the bumpers out of turn 1, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good." So I had to get on the brakes. A couple people got around me, and I just tried to avoid that and kept going.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job, man. Car looked clean all night. You kept yourself in contention, in position. As this race went on, we saw some guys really start to kind of slide the rear end. Is that something that was the track temperature heating up, or was that just kind of a feature, I guess, of this Maconi setup shop setup that you guys had tonight?
I kind of think it depends on certain driving styles. My crew chief was telling me the track started out hot and started cooling off. I didn't really feel any loose out of the corners as long as I kept the weight going in the right direction. You could probably get a little loose if you drove the uphill too hard, and maybe try to get off on the gas too early coming out of the last corner. But if you just kind of played with your brakes and gas at the same time and did a good amount of trail braking, it was stable enough through the corners.
Yeah, congratulations again, John. Your third place finisher here tonight, everybody, in the Ricmotech series. John, who do you have to thank for this third place run here tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the sponsor on the car, GM Goodwrench, even though I'm driving a Ford. I'd like to thank my teammates, GT Motorsports, and one of our team sponsors, Glory Pole Co. They have hitch mount and fifth wheel mount flag poles that you can buy. So if you go to glorypoleco.com, you can get them there. Also, thank you guys for the broadcast, Ricmotech for sponsoring the series, and admins up in the booth.
Yeah, congratulations again, John, your third place finish. And as a designer, I've got to say, I love the blackout that you did on the grill and on the hood, pulling those headlights off of there. That car looked beautiful tonight and was a fantastic tribute.
Yeah, thank you guys.
course. Now, John, I believe you have our second place finisher, Scott Ramler, in the booth with you.
Scott Ramler, Jonathan Leach up in the booth, joined by Greg McConey. Want to get your thoughts on the race. Go ahead, and I'm a little bit more different when my interviews. I try to put it in the hands of the driver. Give us your best walkthrough of this race. What led you to the second place finish? And do you think there was anything you could have done to win this race?
Oh, well, just got to start off by saying congratulations to Christian. That was a hell of a drive. It really just came down to the two of us duking it out and figuring out who was better on tires, better on fuel. And through the first stint, he blew his tires off and had to save a whole bunch of fuel there at the end of the stint to be able to make the one stop work. And I was sitting there thinking, just like, okay, maybe I can relax a little bit the second stint, let him blow his tires off again, just try to keep the pressure on him and force him into a fuel error or make him blow his tires off or something like that. And it ended up being me making the mistake. I blew the bus stop and had to claw my way back up to what little of a difference we had. And doing that, I just roasted my tires, didn't exactly get the chance to do what I needed to do, and I also saved too much fuel. So I was heavier, I was on hotter rubber, and it just didn't work out. Really wish the lap cars had kind of gone away there at the end. I feel like I still could have mounted something there at the end, but that's just how it goes. So it was still an incredible race for 50 consecutive laps. That was a knockdown drag out.
I enjoyed watching it and being in the booth, and I know you and we talked a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, I'm so out of practice with this. I didn't do the race enough justice here in the booth, and I apologize for that. But I thought it was fun watching you two battle it out. We had another really good battle for the 4th, 5th, and the 6th place spot too that we were watching. And we were following you, and we were talking about you when you messed up the bus stop. You had a 6/10 second gap back, and it went from that to 2 seconds immediately. And I'm like, that might be the race right then and there. And like you said, you had to kind of claw your way back, which you did. You got back up to them, but with 2 laps to go, then you had the lap cars in front of you, and like you said, heavier, hotter tires, and too much fuel. Just kind of hard to make something happen there at the end. I expected you to get there, though, if it wouldn't be for the lap cars, and maybe this could have been a little bit different, or could have seen like a side-by-side finish. But again, a lot of fun, great effort. Like you said, just sometimes it doesn't fall that way. But anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Anyone you want to thank, friends, other drivers, any shout-outs, family, friends, floor is yours.
I want to thank Ed for putting everything on here at Extreme on the oval side. Always appreciate having somebody that's credible and does their job very well up in the booth. Want to thank Jeff McConey Setup Shops for sponsoring me. They've been incredibly helpful. Running the Elite F1 series with them, and I'm running here in the Ricmotech Extreme Series with them on the car, and it's been awesome, and an awesome ride to have them on and get to hang out with those guys. But I want to thank you guys for broadcasting and everybody who came out to watch tonight. Hopefully next week we can go in and be one more step up on the podium.
Well, we'll see. See what happens. Maybe I'll give you a run for your money. I won't, but we'll see, because I'll be on the track next week. So, looking forward to that. And folks, that's Scott Ramler, second place finisher. Oh, so close to first. We're going to send him on back, and we'll be talking to our race winner, number 27, Christian Gomez, and he's in the booth now.
Christian Gomez is Greg McConey up here in the SRM booth. Congratulations tonight on your win here at Watkins Glen. Tell us about your race, man.
Oh man, what a thrill! There's just always something so therapeutic of just driving a cup car here at Watkins Glen, and very happy to get the result. Daytona should have gone a little bit better. I think I had a top 5 taken away from me there. Darlington was a disaster, so it's always these road courses. I always, whenever I look at a season calendar, I'm like, okay, these are the moments I have to step up and perform well because this is my strong suit. So happy to come away with a win today. A little bit dramatic there at the end with lap traffic on the last lap. Had to bomb the 80 car there, but it's all good. It's just very happy to take on the win today.
Yeah, Christian, you talk about having to put a perfect race together, and you did just that aside for qualifying. You started on the outside pole here tonight, but you, after about, I think it was like 5 or 7 laps, man, you had the perfect run getting into the bus stop. And just tell us, how was this car acting for you tonight? We saw some guys late race really start to struggle with rear grip. What was this car doing for you all night long?
It was stuck. It's just a matter of how you manage to drive it. Honestly, I can't give away my secret sauce after really. So I can't really. I don't want to go much into it, but it's all about just how you manage the torque going up the hill. Here, it's all about just managing the tire, and almost seems like these tires don't wear at all. Kind of more akin to kind of like the real life tires that we saw this last Sunday here at Indy. But yeah, it's just you just got to manage the tires, manage the torque. These cars are road racing cars. I mean, these are supercars with spoilers on them instead of wings. So it's just doing that and just managing the race because I mean these road courses, they're a slog fest.
Yeah, Christian, you talk about that. You guys, you and Scott were battling back and forth all night long. Like you said, we saw a little bit of lap traffic get in the way right towards the closing laps there. With how fast this track was that difficult for you to be getting around all those guys? Were they giving you trouble, or were most of them kind of staying out of your way and letting you and Scott do your thing?
I mean, they had their own race. I mean, especially in that last lap, I think it was the 80 and the 15. They were battling for position there, so there's only so much they could do. Yeah, while they have to respect our race, I have to respect theirs. So I look at it like if I was a prototype in their GTs, I have more pace. I should be the one that should be managing to get by them. That's in the end what I did there in turn 1 when I double bombed the 80. The wheel got light on me, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't good." And I mean, they got their own race, and there's guys here that again they're primarily oval guys. They don't really do road courses a lot, so the rules of engagement are different between road and oval. So just have to forgive a few for just not knowing, but it was all right. I didn't lose too much time behind them.
Well, Christian, congrats again on your win tonight, man. Who do you have to thank before we let you go for this victory and let you go celebrate with your guys?
I see your last name. Are you at all related with McConey Setup Shop?
Yes, Jeff is my younger brother. I do a lot of paint schemes. Jeff does the setups.
Thank him. Thank him for me. It was a damn good setup. I'll tell you that much. It was snug. Man. It was snug. It felt good. So, thanks to McConey Setup Shop for the great setup today. Ricmotech, the boys at the shop are going to be happy tomorrow. I told them that I was going to try to win it for them here. So, going back to the office tomorrow, that's going to be awesome for them. And Extreme Motorsports for setting up this great championship. And happy to be in the playoffs. So I'll just, I guess, hang around, win another one, or collect playoff points, whatever NASCAR drivers do nowadays. So I'll just do that from now on until we get to October, I believe.
Well, Christian, congratulations once again on your win here tonight. Go celebrate with the boys, and good luck next week.
All right, thank you.
Well, John, that concludes our race here tonight at Watkins Glen. We saw fantastic racing, a lot of side-by-side battles, dive bombs all night long, but everybody kept it clean. We had that one major incident in the beginning in turn 1, but after that, these guys locked in, and I thought they put on one heck of a race.
I was rather pleased with it. We had a lot of great battles in multiple positions. They're giving us too much credit as broadcasters, by the way, but that's okay. But there are multiple fun things, some really nice events, and the worst part about a road course is that it's harder to talk about the battles. It's a little bit harder to get like, oh my god, wow, did you see that move? Because everything gets kind of spread out, you know. But there were some good moves and some cool things that we could talk about technically on the track, and it was really fun to watch Sterling slowly drive through the field and finish in third place because he had to pass a lot of cars to get there, and so kudos to him for making that happen. I thought it was funny how he told Christian Gomez, "Man, you drove the perfect race," and Ramler's like, "Yeah, well, he ran and blew his tires off right at the beginning," and I'm like, "Well, okay, well, it wasn't so perfect." But you know, it's about putting together a complete race, and I mean, and you can mess up once early and still win a race, especially if you've got the drive and you're good, point blank, good like Greg. Folks, Greg's good. I just want y'all to know he can drive good.
I do what I can. I do what I can. Speaking of that and driving, upcoming races, I don't have the overlay set for the upcoming races, sadly. Tomorrow night we have the Thunderclap Series is 8:30, which I will be running in. Start of the playoffs there for those guys. We are taking the
Finished
trucks
last.
to Rockingham. I'm excited
Yeah,
for that. We also have the Ghost Xfinity Series is at 8:30. Thursday, we have no shows scheduled right now, so if anybody's looking for a broadcast, hit us up. Let me know. Let John know. Let James know. Hit us up on Facebook or Discord, however you want to get a hold of us. Friday night, I believe the Monster Speed Racing League is the one running right now. I know iRacing East Series is starting up here in a few weeks, which I'm also in that one. Saturday, nothing scheduled right now. I don't think we have anything. Actually, Thursday we do. We have that memorial race on Thursday. I forgot about that one. Saturday, nothing. Sunday, we have the INSF Cup Series, or Sunday Night NASCAR. And then, yeah, I'm all sorts out of whack. Sunday is INSF at 5 o'clock, and Sunday Night NASCAR is at 8:30 on Sunday. Monday coming up, clean racing, and then you will be back here with us. With Tony and Dave, your normally scheduled broadcasters, here next Tuesday night. John, what do you say we take one final run through the rundown, and we wrap up, and we'll wrap up tonight here.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, you're showing the qualifying results right now.
Wrong
So
one.
if you want to go over and
Yep,
switch
that
us to the race results.
There we go.
All right, now that shows our race winner, Christian Gomez. The guy who blew his tires off and put together a perfect race to win, narrowly edging out Scott Ramler, P2. And these guys beat third place John Sterling by 43 seconds.
Yeah,
That's
remarkable.
mind-boggling. But you know, those two guys, they put the cleanest race together. And that's what happens at these road courses. A clean race together. They manage their tires correctly. They manage their fuel correctly. And they are the class of the field easily. Looks 6 cars on the lead lap. Correction, 7 cars were left on the lead lap. So, but that's because a bunch of drivers at the end ran out of fuel. And unfortunately, that hurt them. So, going further down the line, 4th, Bryce Sinsek. He was involved in a whole bunch of battles, and he ended up finishing 4th because he managed his fuel. Dennis Weeks comes home in 5th place with Hawkins 6th. Clifton Cockrell 7th. David Kleiman, bunch of fans, ended up finishing 8th. Ryan Kling 9th. Michael Thwaites rounds out the top 10.
11th, we have Jeremy Clifton. 12th, Alex Carr. And your last car one lap down. And 13th was Brandon Shirley tonight. 14th, Alonzo King, your first car 2 laps down. Greg Carr finishes 15th. Mike Rominger in 16th. Wes Gant 17th. And Mark Hanna finishes in 18th tonight. Still 2 laps down. And as we keep scrolling a little bit, we have Mark Hanna in 18th. Yeah, Max Shade Had a rough night, made 2 laps before having to call it a night after getting caught in that lap 1 incident. And then Kevin Ford rounds out the field in 20th, having not started tonight. Once again, everybody, to my broadcast partner, the normal chief cook and bottle washer of SRM and ESBN, John Leach, thank you again for getting in the booth with me tonight, man. I had so much fun with you. Sorry we couldn't be seeing you out on track, but I thoroughly enjoyed being up here in the booth with you, and I look forward to our next time together.
I'm sure there'll be plenty more, and good luck on your race tomorrow night. Everybody, thanks for sticking it out with us. You're not normal crew and unpracticed together, but I'm pretty confident that if I got 3 races under my belt again and worked 3 races with Greg, we'd be pretty comparable to the better duo. Anyway, folks, once again, thanks for being here, and we'll be seeing you next time.
And once again, everybody, my final reminder to you, we want to thank you for showing up tonight. We want to remind you to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that stuff. And I want to leave you with one final reminder. Keep the car off the wall, keep your foot to the floor, and we'll see you back here at SRM. Good night, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.